to talk behind the scenes? Okay, we're continuing. I skipped that break too, gentlemen. I mean, I think the question that Bob Chapman's getting at here is that you had said that he wouldn't say exactly when, but then you're saying you do know when. I mean, do you have a ballpark? What did he say specifically on that, Lindsey?
Yes, and here's what he said. When I asked him, why are you going to do this? He said, we're doing this because, okay, number one, he said Iran is worrying us to no end. He said Iran is becoming one of the wealthiest nations on the face of the earth. I said, are you talking about the Iranian bourse, the bank? Many countries doing business now besides the American dollar. He indicated in his way of saying it, yes. And basically, in a nutshell, here are their plans. They are going to utterly decimate the Middle East. Can you imagine crude oil being taken from $143 a barrel, where it hit at a peak, to $50 a barrel?
Well, that just won't bankrupt the. That just won't
think this through.
That just won't bankrupt the Middle East. It'll bankrupt the dollar.
Well, that's exactly, Alec. You hit the. I'm so glad you're thinking ahead of me.
Yeah, also make the price of gold go up too.
When the Arab world must maintain their economy. Here's a few sheikhs and sheiks over there. They were nothing but nomads roaming the desert riding camels 100 years ago. Our oil companies went in there and made them. Now, I studied history. I had a history minor in college. About every 75 to 100 years, they will destroy one culture. They did it in the First and Second World War. They turn around and make another culture. That's exactly what they're in the process of doing right now. They are going to utterly decimate the Arab culture. The few sheikhs and sheiks will have to get rid of all of their reserve currency of American dollars overnight in order to be able to try to even maintain some semblance of economy over there, because they have a socialistic economy whereby they give the people everything from schooling to housing to medical to you name it, and all of a sudden it goes to $50 a barrel. They can't buy our T-bills anymore. They can't buy our Federal Reserve issues anymore. We have a $10 trillion national debt now plus, and what happens to the American dollar when this happens? Going through the floor overnight.
Bob, this fits in. I mean, we'll see if it happens. Lindsey's been accurate in the past, and I believe he believes what he's saying, that this fella did tell him that. Boy, that is a reckless operation. If that's what they're planning. Bring down the U.S. and the Arabs. Left standing is Europe and Russia, and then move their New World Order centers to those places. We're going to get Bob Chapman's take on this and let him go when we come back to the full audience in just a moment, and then let Lindsey Williams roll. And then I want to keep Lindsey Williams on in 20 minutes when Monteith joins us, and they can all discuss whatever they want. So here we go with Bob Chapman and Lindsey Williams. Very appreciative of Lindsey Williams coming on, even though he's under threat on this show today. Here we go.
Rex of Political Talk. Alex Jones on the GCN Radio Network.
Okay, I want Lindsey Williams to recap their master plan, what the big oil baron told him they're planning to do. And again, Lindsey's only had accurate info in the past. It was the chaplain for the executives up there when they found the giant oil reserves in Alaska. He's been exposing and talking about it. He's been threatened, but he's still coming on air to discuss it. But Bob Chapman, any other questions or comments you've got here for Lindsey Williams?
No, I think that we know the groundwork. And my synopsis from a research point of view and a psychopolitical warfare point of view, it differs from what the gentleman he talked to said. But then again, I'm not on the inside. Maybe this gentleman is. But I see a lessening of problems with Iran. There's been negotiations going on with them for 2 years. And I think that they're soon going to come to an agreement. And I see more problems in other areas of the world. As far as flooding the market with oil, it's possible, maybe even probable. I think there's a time element that'll be attached to it, like we discussed earlier in the program. And so I think it could be down the line a ways. And I think in the absence of warfare in the Middle East, that oil probably wouldn't go much higher. And on the other hand, Lindsey believes that through his contact that oil will go substantially higher because, to put it in my parlance, the Middle East is going to become a free fire zone. And That's possible, but I don't believe that's going to happen. I disagree with his fellow that he's talking to, but then again, he's on the inside. But, I've been studying this for 50 years, and I have got a pretty good track record.
Well, regardless, all the policies show and the trend shows the dollar going down. And what would a flooding of the market do? Because a jacking of the oil up hurts the dollar, bringing it down to a mid-level helps the dollar, but plunging it, doesn't that too hurt the dollar?
Well, I think one would offset the other. And I think that people have got to look at the underlying reason why the dollar is weak. And it's not because of oil prices. It's cause and effect. And the effect is high oil prices and food prices and prices for other things.
And that's not changing in the next 3 years. Okay.
No, because they can't change the system, because if they don't create money and credit and that continues to devalue the dollar, then there will be still upward pressure normally on oil, because it's reflected they want to make up for what they're losing. And it's a hard combination, but
if they devalued oil, that would then take the pressure off the dollar.
Only to an extent, because these people at the Federal Reserve continue to increase the supply of money and credit by 15 to 18% a month, and they're not the only ones doing it.
Okay, theinternationalforecaster.com. Thank you for spending time with us. I really appreciate it.
Okay, thank you, Lindsey.
There goes Bob Chapman. Okay, I wanted to bring him in just to get a different perspective in this. Lindsey, you have the floor, all the issues, recap the master plan, what this executive told you. Let us in on it.
I can tell you only what he told me. Exactly how it's going to play out, I'm quite sure Bob Chapman is much more knowledgeable on that than I. And for the past 35 years, as all of you know, all I have done is told what I have been told at different times by the elite. And so far, I cannot take any credit for it being true. It's only true because of the providence of God, and that I was allowed to know these people and have been in touch with some of them from time to time. As a result, they have told me some things. They haven't told me all things. They've told me some things. And as a result, I have been willing to give it out to the world, just as you have done a marvelous job of giving out what you have known, Alex. So from this point on, I will try my best to tell you what this man indicated to me. First of all, $50 a barrel. Secondly, how is he going to do it? Or how are they going to do it? Mind you, these people do exist. This is an agenda, not a conspiracy. I'm sorry, folks, beg me. I ask you, listen, these people, they control the world. They know what they're doing. So anyway, he said, we're going to open up an oil field in Indonesia, north of Russia, flood the world with oil. I gathered from what he said, even though he wouldn't admit to it. I talked about war with Iran. Now, I have been under the impression for a long time that there would probably be a war with Iran. I'm gathering from what he said that the best way to destroy them, because right now our president couldn't go to war with Iran. The college students of America wouldn't stand for a draft. The monetary system is in such shabby shape until there's no way. And what he indicated was that they're basically going to financially break them, take it to $50 a barrel, put the Arabs back to roaming the deserts riding camels. That beautiful five-star city over there of Dubai, what's it going to turn out to be? It'll probably turn out to be a ghost town, and they're going to turn around and build new cultures as they have done for the past 75 to 100 years in the past. They're going to, and this is what's so startling, Alex. Oh, it scares me to even think about it. We're going to have to compete with Russia again. We're going to have another Cold War, because here, as was announced by Fox News on last Thursday, Russia now being equal with Saudi Arabian oil output, whenever they can produce 8 times more than in Saudi Arabia, 90 billion barrels of recoverable oil announced officially by the Coastal and Geodetic Service of the USGS and Fox News on last Thursday. This is going to make Russia one of the major contenders of the world, both financially, in oil. We're going to have another great Cold War. They're going to turn around, destroy the Middle East culture, utterly decimate it, and build new cultures in Indonesia and Russia. And this, to me, is so startling. I hate to even think about what could take place. Now, the CEO of ExxonMobil, and you go back up and look this up for yourself, said on May the 3rd of '08, he said, quote, crude oil should be $50 a barrel. Now, that was May the 3rd of '08. How did he know that? How did the man that called me know it? Why did they both have the identical same figure? The reason they did, because both of them know the same boardrooms behind the same closed doors, and they know exactly what it is that they plan to do. Then, oh my goodness, Alex, I don't know how to even reckon this. Then he said to me, he said, Chaplain Williams, he said, John McCain is our man.